So we pulled the almost all-nighter to get the car running again. It's absolutely insane how much torque this thing makes, but it's also very, very violent. So I'm gonna drive home, which is about 70 miles, to try and make it and get ready to go to the Peterson. It's almost 200 miles on a brand new, untested, fresh drivetrain. So I tried driving home, but about halfway through the drive, so about 30 miles in, I noticed the alternator was no longer working. And the best part is that the dash, I make sure that I have up to 1 decimal point of voltage. When an alternator is running perfectly, you see 14. But the car and the battery were all at 13.1, 13.0, and then it started dropping more and more. I knew something was wrong. So I'd made the decision to turn around, and thanks to anti-gravity, that battery lasted another 30 miles plus, driving back to the shop. It is 2:50, 3 in the morning. I just drove the car for a half hour home and a half hour back because the alternator voltage was dropping. And I was just like, okay, maybe it's under load, maybe it's under load. And then I pulled it off and, well, here, you guys can see. That's not supposed to be sitting there. So the alternator fell off and then the belt's gone. Oh, look, there's a massive bolt sitting right there for something. I'd be in good shape if the belt was anywhere in the vicinity here, but it is not. There's a lot of oil sitting everywhere. That oil pan is in the engine mounts that I fucking requested to be made a certain way were not made that way. It's kind of why I stopped on a lot of the projects in the shop. I paused because I was not happy with the completion of the work being done. This one's biting me in the ass a little bit. Nonetheless, thanks to anti-gravity for that battery lasting whatever, an hour drive. This car's fun as hell. I went home, it's just in the back of my mind, I want to keep it going. I want to make it. And the best part was Erica was extremely supportive, and she was like, just go back. Her family's in town, and we'll all meet together at the Peterson. So I came back to the shop. I found the bolt for the alternator, one of the many. And the guys put anti-seize on it. No worries about it seizing. In fact, that would have been preferable for the bolt to have seized. So I orange Loctited the top bolt, the bolt that they had anti-seized. I used a nylon. You can see the orange residue from the bolt back there also. So the top bolt back there, and then that long cross bolt, those are all in tight. The bottom one, not so sure about. Somebody misthreaded the front cover, and it's not these guys. It was long before this. So we are back in business, and it is 11 p.m. the night before the event, and I think we can do it. It is cutting season for me, and not only are we cutting the number of rotors out of the cars, but I'm also trying to lose weight for Pikes Peak because it is much easier to lose about 10 pounds of fat than it is to try and drop 10 pounds out of the 3-rotor. David Protein has been absolutely incredible for really just in the moment, on the go, getting my protein with minimal extra calories. That way I don't have to worry about glycemic spikes. You can have the best self-control and the best strategy and diet ever, but as soon as your organization gets rocked, something crazy happens. The car breaks for the 5th time in a row, everything's out the window and you're out at fast food. This is the best thing I found for getting 28 grams of protein for only 150 calories of total food consumption. Normally, the thing about protein bars to me is that you pick it up and it says 28 grams of protein, and then you look, by the way, it's 350 calories. I might as well just eat a burger. I might as well just eat something else. When it comes to options, you've got both of them here. Gold is, for me, the gold standard. This is 28 grams of protein for only 150 calories, and it comes in flavors like chocolate chip cookie dough, which is also my favorite type of ice cream. And then they have the more decadent bronze option, which is 20 grams of protein for 150 calories. But it's got a little bit more indulgent flavors if that's what you're looking for. David has a special offer for you guys. If you buy 4, you get the 5th free. You can either click on the QR code or click on the link in the description below, or if you can't wait, you can find them on the shelves at Target, Publix, Kroger, and many others. I'm revisiting the Maiden Voyage 2.0 during the middle of the day, super bright out. It's gonna be 80-some degrees while I'm driving. So I got 50 miles to go to the Peterson. I believe in you. Full battery, in case that has to be fixed again. It's hard not to justify ethanol when gas is so much more expensive. I got a full tank of gas, no half a pack of cigarettes. It's 55 miles to Peterson. It's completely bright out, and I got sunglasses on. That's not good. I'm quickly hitting the time where I know I'm not gonna make it to the event that Donut Media is having at the Peterson. That's the whole reason we wanted to do this. And the car's not going. So I did my classic old rotary push. The starter is not engaging. That sucks. So I'm gonna have to push it. Let's see if we can do it with one rotor. Right into traffic. That was pretty slow too. So close. You've got to be kidding. I bet you push backwards, thank you. Okay, so not for a lack of trying, and the Good Samaritan helped push me away from the road, but after trying to push start it, the whole car is shut off, and I think that my mistake here is I used the stock ignition signal. All my other cars, I actually just re-hotwire the ignition key, so that way it only goes straight to the Haltech. Well, this I tapped into the stock fuse and stock everything else, and I have to look into that. But the starter was having problems, and then it was like thump, 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 thump when I was trying to push start it, but I wasn't going fast enough because I'm facing a road. Now it's just dead to the world. Stock stuff and Haltech, which is the stock car, is dead. Pretty sure. Don't know enough about fusible links. That center part looks fine. At this point, it's definitely like the stock harness having issues, and I don't have any wiring stuff to diagnose it, but if I had my meter, I would see if there's voltage straight to the alternator, which there should be, or the battery's having issues. And then if I had my multi-tool, or even any of my wiring tools, I could just go onto the Haltech and short the 2 pins that are ignition, 12 volts and ignition. This issue's in the loop. That looks a little suspicious. Those are from tears, no other liquid. It's been a minute since I've filmed something like this. That guy's badass. Back in the shop, no time wasted. So I was just wiping everything down because I overfilled it with oil, and it's like, okay, the oil's clearly not helping the situation. I don't think it's the oil. This car vibrates so goddamn hard that the poor starter shook itself to pieces. These bolts backed out. Can't see them, but they're right there. It is not Wasp's fault at all. This starter's been on the 4-rotor for years. Anything attached to this motor is getting just trashed. The starter, the alternator, I don't mean the alternator itself, but the alternator mount, anything. Turbo probably. So it's pretty violent. Swapped the starters since the other one was rattled loose, but I finally did what I had asked somebody previously to do, and that's what I got these little red things for, was to sandwich the engine between 2 of those. It should help the slightest bit with the vibration. Really disappointed with how this was made when I asked for it to be made a specific way. A lot of wasted space for the oil, hence the AccuSump in case. All this shit. Look at just why a billion bolts? It can be just held from these corners here, like a 20B, or on the sides, or like a 13B. Instead, we wasted all this extra space for oil. They give me no room to do the proper bushings that I wanted for this, because this is a 1-rotor. It's gotta vibrate. There's nothing countering it. Round 2. It doesn't even matter what round it is now, but this thing's shaking everything apart. So let's hope those engine mounts help make it a little bit better. I'm already late. The event's over, but it's an emotional thing for me to make it. So I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try to make it to the Peterson. First full maiden voyage. 90 degrees out. the belt's still there, I guess. Shit.
Okay, so here's my weird ass plan. That is broken, like off on its casting. So I'm gonna use this one until it starts going to like 12 flat. And I brought this one from the 12 rotor. So I'm gonna turn all the fans off and everything, and then go as far as this one will go, and then swap to this one to make it home. But right now I'm in downtown, close to downtown LA. We shall see. I'm 1.5 miles away from the Peterson. 13 volts, 12.9, and I got the other battery, so I think I'm gonna make it. But I'm not gonna jinx myself. I have made it. Barely. But I've made it to Peterson Museum. Barely. I did not believe I would get this far, but we got this far. Oh my God. Oh, I'm so excited I dropped my phone. Okay, we'll deal with getting back. That's gonna be a pain in the ass, but doesn't matter, I made it. So I may have completely missed the event, except I do see one little Miata brethren right there, but I have made it. So that is the one and only Aerovet. So it says here, V8. But they were originally trying to make it, sure enough, originally trying to make it a 4-rotor. So they beat me long ago to making it a mid-engine, rear-engine, 4-rotor Corvette. A beautiful car. Did not know it still existed.
It's pretty sick. You can actually see. Oh, it looks like almost looks fake. Huh. This is just a really solid way of doing that.
That's the Gordon Murray T50.
This is actually genuinely one of the reasons, not just the Miata event itself, but all of these different cars, especially the one right back here. Beautiful.
So what's really funny is actually in the very first Fast and Furious, when they do the whole like NOS and engine swoopy thing with the cool animations through a rotary, and I didn't even pick up on that for many years. Failsafe kit's kind of polarizing, but it's still just an iconic version of the car. Making it to the Peterson was actually, at this point, the easier part, because it was already done. I guess that makes it the easier part, right? But going back is going to be a whole nother challenge. Now, the good news is I bought one of the spare anti-gravities, and they're massive. It's 80 amp hours versus the 40. That's already massive for this car, but because of those extra amp hours, I'm going to be able to run the car quite a while on just battery, a just 12-volt battery, charging all the ignition, the fuel pump, water pump, fans as they turn on, headlights if I need them. And so I'm going to try and do as little of that as possible. It's still 80 degrees out, but I'm going to go ahead and use that to best my advantage before the sun sets. It's colder, and try and make it in an hour of driving 60 miles back to the shop. All right. That was nuts. I'm downloading the log right now, but I made it. It started shaking really violently at 4,000 RPM. So something 4,000 RPM has been consistently showing up that this thing misbehaves, but that doesn't matter. I'm here. Both myself and the car survived that absolute grueling drive back and forth from the Peterson. Doesn't matter, did it. The car and I made sweet love even without the alternator. Now, Ryder has already re-welded the alternator itself back together and added extra material so that way it can handle the vibrations that it never normally is under. And we're gonna handle that side. But this thing at 28 PSI is far more high strung and more power density than this car at 700 to almost 800 horsepower. Rotary engines are actually the only engine I've experienced with doing this properly, but one of the easiest engines to time because every single one times it off of the front rotor, and that notch is always, on every single E-shaft built, 180 degrees from the front lobe. Opposite of top dead center means that when you look at the bolt configuration, if that notch is to the left, the lobe is to the right, and that's where the spark plugs are. This has a lazy eye, droopy bolt hole, so that way you can't put the trigger stuff on backwards. If it was in its correct spot, that would be top dead center. So we're gonna set the engine directly to that, and then make sure that the math
adds up. There's one missing tooth right here. What happens is this sensor is going to pick up a tooth, and then when there's no tooth, the Haltech knows, and most ECUs know, to reset. When you talk about with the wheels reset point, it's off of this tooth right here because the engine's spinning this way. When the tooth is detected, it's on the front side of the tooth. If when the tooth leaves, so it's rising or falling, it makes that bit of a difference. Each tooth has a thickness, and so either you're detecting when it's beginning the tooth or when it's ending the tooth. And then that still is 0. Once this sensor has read that tooth, 50 degrees from there is gonna be roughly top dead center. So I'm gonna go ahead and rotate the engine. So the sensor has now read the last tooth. It's just past it, and so it's resetting, and then it's going to catch the beginning of that tooth right in here. We're gonna look at our log and see if I have it as rising or falling. To make sure the tooth is past it, it's set to falling. So once the tooth comes past, it rises up, and then as soon as it sees that first tooth leave, it falls, and that's 0 for the crank sensor. We got 36 teeth, 1 missing tooth, and then after that reset, we want to say 50 degrees after that. So we'll see if this number matches top dead center. Falling edge of that tooth has now passed this sensor. Saying 50 degrees, that means really we're just going 5 teeth over, and it's the falling side of the 5th tooth. So there's 10 degrees, 20 degrees, 30 degrees, 40 degrees, and now 50 degrees. The interesting thing is that this notch or this notch, those are just arbitrary things. The marking on the wheel is offset just as much as these marks are. It's really annoying, to be honest. So what we want to be is the sensor. That does not look to match anything. So no wonder we're making a lot of power. I think it was definitely off. You can actually see on the full function, you can see the teeth do have numbers right there. So that means I was running a certain amount of advance. That was why I was being super stable with everything. Interesting, the engine really liked that, to be honest, because I was able to really control it. Or we'll keep ignition on, keep fuel off, and then I'll have somebody else turn it over and I'll watch for these marks and then adjust the laptop. Data is data, and I don't have no baseline with a 1 rotor, so I don't know what's normal. Love Finn to death. He must have swapped the wires. The sharp-eyed guys, thank you for also putting that on my radar. And because of that, the timing was messed up, but it was closer because the leading was firing trailing, but the trailing was firing leading. I'm so curious how much difference. I mean, literally, it went from 50 degrees to 90 degrees, so a 40-degree difference, but then the two were also swapped. It ran great. That's the weird part. Like, I could adjust timing. Like, the thing is when you advance timing too much, you don't get any more torque and you just start detonating because you're igniting it before the engine has gotten all the way up to the top. In this case, when I was idling it, I had great control at 10 degrees. So I've got a lot of soul searching to do because whatever that reverse split just did, I'm fascinated. So I'm gonna set it to that and then turn everything on and fire it up. So I gotta swap the cables. We are going to try the new proper timing settings and see how different the engine behaves. I hope it is so much less violent. Not even remotely vibrating. It's just that's wild. That is wild. It's idling higher because it's happier here. I'm flabbergasted, and I never say that. It's holding idle so much better. It's actually adding fuel back. It's requiring more fuel, which means that it's more volumetrically efficient because it's actually igniting it. So
so much smoother.
So much smoother. There's a little bit of a ting feeling right now. I don't know if it's quieter, but it is smoother, quieter. I have a feeling that means it probably will boost, hopefully harder. What?
The belt fell off.
Oh, motherfuck. Okay, well, it was running good until the belt fell off. It is time to see what this engine is supposed to feel like with full power, with the correct timing. So I'm gonna go putt around, do 2 or 3 pulls, and then just step on it. Oh, I have rear view mirrors. That is probably the nicest luxury.
I didn't even realize that.
Yeah, I can survive without that one because like you can look this way even with the hard top, but this one is critical. Oh, that's a luxury car now. She fires right up though.
That is worse than it's ever been. Clutch pedal's vibrating, the shifter's vibrating. Once I'm in boost, something cut. That's what I stopped for, but it's got great response. There's no doubt about that. That is probably the best, most redeeming part of this. That was only 11 pounds of boost. Okay, clutch sink to the floor. That's gone. Oh, I'm not gonna press anymore. Okay, that just destroyed something. Maybe that last pull wasn't good to do. Well, how did I lose a clutch? The first two pulls were in second gear on purpose to be more stable. In first gear, over boosted on that last pull, but I was getting really good data. The car was fine, the engine's fine. All of a sudden, clutch sank to the floor and you heard the car doing what it was doing. This thing is absolutely wicked. This is actually very impressive to me because this is a similar result, but different cause. This was torque. This was some serious goddamn torque. I can tell you right now, right before the transmission let go, it was about 280 horsepower. That's equivalent to basically 900 horsepower three-rotor. The engine mount solution is just not adequate. What's interesting is that we only had this one bolt because all these other bolts don't line up when the engine's in line. That bolt has since basically been pulled out. It was only in the oil pan anyway, so I don't know what the fuck was going on there. My pads are good, but this plate is all over the place, and that as a result let the engine go all over the place. And the torque tube is excellent for certain types of torque, but not the type of rotational torque. A long tube, no matter how latticed and whatever, you can still twist a tube pretty easily, especially at 300 horsepower for what's meant to be 140 or 120 horsepower. We snapped the back part of the transmission, which does not surprise me because the transmission was the only thing holding the engine in place. I've had it on the four-rotor where you can have all the engine mounts off and engine and transmission all work together, and you don't normally break that bond, but because we have such a thin transmission, modified, and we've got such vibration, we're getting what we're getting. So I think we're gonna modify the engine mounts, which then allow us to fix the oil pan. Vibration still occurs, but we'll be able to mount the engine and dampen that vibration. You can tell with the correct timing, the car is definitely pulling even harder. I'm annoyed in the sense of like, it feels like it's a repetitive part, but I'm not annoyed in the sense of this is why one-rotors aren't a thing. This is why turbo one-rotors are not popular, because there is a lot of weird issues, and this is, for anybody else, your career doesn't depend on it, and it would be something that would want you to mothball the project. You'd be like, you know what, somebody else's problem, or just, I'm done. But thankfully, we're gonna see this through. That way, any of you guys that are interested in doing one-rotors don't have to go through this sort of heartbreak if the goal was to have a cool rotary, make tons of power, super light, and not vibrate you worse than the biggest vibrator on sale. You know the definition of insanity, doing the same thing, expecting a totally different result. I am done with any sort of possibility of breaking our transmission welds. The engine is mounted now much softer, but much more firmly, both, to these little baby mounts, which allows us to now have all of these bolts properly holding the oil pan to the engine. We've already fired it up. It sounds and feels so much better. Redoing the oil pan allowed us to much more properly prevent the leaks. Even with the engine mounted better, somewhere there's a difference in force. One thing's trying to stay still and one thing's moving. The back of the transmission wants to rotate, but it's being held by the power plant frame. The transmission tries to do that rotation, and it would put all that force on the weld. Don't want that. So as it starts to rotate, it's going to go to this massively overkill, beautiful plate. Removing the power plant frame, though, now means that the rear diff is no longer connected to the front, and that puts us back here with, again, there's a force that wants to rotate, and there's a force that wants to stay still to turn that rotation into the wheels. You'll see other companies will do things where it comes straight across and does kind of a triangulation. We have an exhaust here, so I'm kind of curious to see how this should work. Again, we're not launching this car super hard, and this plate is pretty overkill. It's just a cleaner setup all in all. So I am very happy with this, and I mean, we're just gonna take it to the next level and get this thing ready for the dyno.